Less powder next time. Cancer, thank you for joining me again this week for Arcade Arcana. We pull tarot cards for each of the 12 zodiac signs in the zodiac wheel. So let's just go ahead and get started, Cancer. Cancer, I know you have a lot that you want to know, especially from last week. Wow, that's a very interesting reading, Cancer. Okay, so we start the week off with Justice, then we move to the Fool, then we move to Judgment. All right, Cancer, so an action you took this week is going to have immediate consequences. You're being called up in the court of the high universe, and it is asking you to atone for the decisions you have made. If the decisions you've made were made in your highest good, then you have nothing to worry about. But if you're regretting any decisions that you're feeling in the beginning of the week, be careful with how you address them. Make sure you're taking the full situation into account, because the universe is going to provide for you judgment, but it's going to do so without bias. And there is a little bit of compassion and mercy and forgiveness involved. So be ready to forgive yourself for what you did, forgive others for what they did to you, and don't be afraid to really think about justice and how you move from a situation where somebody was wronged, somebody did something wrong, and not that it didn't need to happen, but the way it went about was just entirely too shady for the situation. So make sure in the beginning of the week that you're prepared to answer for some of the decisions you've made. And you know what I'm talking about. It's not going to be something small. It's going to be something big. And so make sure you're ready to address those questions and have the answers concrete. And don't be afraid to show yourself a little mercy, a little compassion, because you are too only human trying to learn all these lessons that are put in front of you. So don't be afraid to, look at the situation from many different angles and see if you acted with a certain kind of malice. What kind of malice was it? Why was it there in the first place? Remember to get to the root of these situations, because when you're talking about universal justice and, universal retribution, it's something that is much deeper than a surface level decision you've made. It goes very deep, Cancer. So be careful in the beginning of the week. You're going to be called to answer for the actions that you've taken thus far. So then in the middle of the week, you get into the Fool. And the Fool's ready to start a new journey. It's the first card in the deck. So you're starting the entire journey of life through the tarot deck. You're setting out on foot, you don't know where you're going, you don't know what it means, and you have a naivety about you that's ready to address the world, but trust the world in a way that maybe the world is not ready to be trusted with quite yet. So I want you to be careful about any traps you may fall into, any information that you don't know. Don't create an opinion without the full understanding of the situation involved. It's really important, Cancer, to, yes, be okay with boldly going, adventuring, journeying to a different area, to a different experience, and to really start a new chapter in your life. Really turn the page on what's happening, because right now, this is what the universe favors for you. And so you settle on the world and you're ready to address all the questions you have. But just be wary, because it is a new path for you. You don't know where the dangers or the concerns lie ahead when it comes to knowledge, wisdom, information. So really be careful going into the middle of the week. Be ready for new action, be ready for new experiences, but venture wisely, because you're not one to get caught up in something that you don't need to be involved in. I don't think that's who you are, Cancer. And then in the middle of the week, we are going to look at the Judgment card. And so the Judgment card is the second to last in the major arcana of the deck. So what it symbolizes is the final rebirth. It's the final reckoning before you reach enlightenment. So look for a lot of different players, a lot of different action, a lot of different lessons. I'd say from about Tuesday till Friday evening, Saturday morning, there's going to be a huge journey you're going to take on. So don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone, because it's going to lead you to this kind of rebirth, reawakening of, your passion, of your morals, of your beliefs, of why you're here, what you're doing, why you're doing it, and answering all the really big questions that you have about yourself, Cancer, and how you fit into the universe, and how that fits into what you know, what you understand, what you're comfortable with. But really, be bold this week. Be bold, be decisive. This is a really interesting week for you, Cancer, because it's just such different energies. I mean, you have the beginning and the end almost from the middle to the end of the week. And, there's a huge question that you address in the beginning of the week. It's just a very different energies molding together. So I think you're in for a very unexpected week. Pretty much expect nothing and go with the flow of the universe, because the universe has a lot of things to teach you, and you have to be willing to listen and to be ready when the universe speaks to you. I think looking at your advice card, which I pulled, which is the Knight of Wands. So there's a lot of journey, whether it's internal or external. You have the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is the only knight that's in motion. He's going. He's got places to go, people to see, stories to hear, and he's not waiting on anyone. So Cancer, don't wait on anyone this week. Be prepared to step out on your own and really boldly go forth and answer the questions that you've been asking for a very long time. I think you have the opportunity to get in touch with a more creative sense of yourself. You're going to be able to express yourself a little easier, Cancer, creatively this week, and look to opportunities to really branch into your comfort zone of creativity. You're a water sign. The act of creation can be very easy for these placements when it comes to just accessing an inner well of water elemental energy that really solidifies the authenticity and, really drives home the message that you create in your art. So really look to creativity, look to action, and don't be afraid, Cancer, because you are protected. You are protected from certain things that could go wrong. But if you do find yourself in a trap, look around you, because this is where your learning lesson will come from. And this is where the most action and the most progress can be made with you, Cancer, because you're going to be put into situations you never knew you could be put into this week. So, it could go any kind of way, Cancer, but I think if you really hold on and go for the ride and put yourself into the situations you need to be in, I think you will have an excellent, excellent week. So thank you so much, Cancer, for visiting me this week. We have more tarot card readings coming every week on Mondays, so make sure you check back regularly. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I want to know what your least favorite zodiac sign is and why.